Hello everyone, welcome to our video, a tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to look into how to develop a smart contract, a Stellar smart contract to be specific, using the Stellar's Soroban smart contract platform. So, um, the smart contract, which is on the Soroban platform, is built using Rust. So, and with Rust, we can have like a memory efficient programs and things like that. Um, First of all, the Rust program, it doesn't the smart contract when you're building in Rust, it doesn't, we cannot use the standard libraries because like most standard libraries are not supported by Rust or something. No, not supported by Rust. So Stella itself provides their own um, smart, provides a kind of Rust standard library, like a basic set of functions and methods uh, and structures to be used for our smart contract development. So let's just stop talking and start doing, right? And just look into how this all works. So I hope you are excited as I am. So this is the Stella homepage. And as you can see, there is a lot of things it's defined. I really like the Stellar designs, you know. It's actually giving me a grunge vibe. It's cool. Global payments. I really like the person who designed the Stellar uh, I mean, designs. I like the themes and everything. I like how the everything is so kind of cool. So this is actually Stellar. You can look into how what Stellar is. And right now, let's just jump into the docs. So and it's really bright. Let's just go over to the dark mode. Like I mean, we are allowed to be in a dark place, right? Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's just go on to the build. Like on the Stellar developer docs, you can just go on to the build and it will just show you okay, all these things. So right now, what we are going to do is we're going to write the smart contract, right? So to just basically follow along with the with my tutorial, you can just open up the developer docs and look into the smart contract. So first you get the overview, getting started with my smart contracts. If you check the overview, you can just have a basic understanding of uh, what all things are needed, what do you need to understand, what do you need to be uh, known to have an efficient development process, like not to develop the smart contract or the dApp to be specific. It's just, we are not just developing the smart contract, we also um interacting with a React application. We are also developing a React application using a boilerplate, of course. Um, to interact with the smart contract. So it will be like a smart contract deployed onto the Stellar blockchain and a React application that calls onto the Stellar blockchain and it lets the users interact with the smart contract more easily. Otherwise, you have to I think you can use like Okashi. Uh, Okashi is a platform. Uh, Okashi Stellar. Like if you search for it, you can see. I remember Okashi.dev. So Okashi.dev is like a online. smart contract interaction, like in order to play with the blockchain and things like that. You can develop the smart contract, just the smart contract itself in the Okashi itself. And there is also Kaizai, which also lets you interact with the blockchain. Uh, Kaizai, Kaizai, I think the name is correct, right? Yeah. So in the Stellar smart contract resources, developed through smart contracts, you can have a lot of tools available to you. And Kesa is the kind of a cool postman kind of thing. It will let you interact with the smart contract directly. So if you don't have a what do you call a front end interacting with your smart contract, you can use Kizai to interact with the smart contracts across the Stellar blockchain. So if you have a smart contract with you, you can interact with it. So if you don't actually need a front end to interact like a do a smart contract transaction or interact with the Web3, you just need KSI.dev to interact with the Stellar blockchain smart contracts. Stellar blockchain smart contracts, you can use KSI. So KSI is actually a really cool uh, platform. So Keiza and Okashi. So those are the basic things. So Okashi lets you develop it, and Keiza let you interact with it. So keep those two tools in mind. So I'll be making a tutorial later on those two later. It will be nice, like for my our community to learn more about Web3 and help develop Web3 to make the internet a better place, right? Yeah. Anyway, let's get back into the tutorial and. Those two tools, you can keep those in mind and see in the overview and things like that. So, Rust on Stellar, just including and the Soroban Rust SDK, which we'll be using for developing the Rust, the smart contract and the host environment. This is a tough one. Yeah. Anyway, let's just go into the getting started and let's just jump into the setup. So, in Medical itself, you need to have like in your operating system, your primary operating system, whether that be Linux, Mac OS, or Windows. I'm using Windows and I'm using WSL, so it will let me have like a persistent environment, like a local, like a Linux environment. So it gives me like Linux is better for developers. Like I don't care anyone if anyone says like Windows is better or things like that. Windows gives you a lot of a better user experience, but as a developer, Linux gives you all those superpower tools. Anyway, okay, let's just go into the tutorial. So at first, you need to have the Rust toolchain installed on your system. You can install the Rust toolchain by following this. This is for the Linux and Mac OS and other Unix like OSs. And for the Windows and everything, you can just install the Rust init binary, and it will execute and install the Rust language and its tools on your system. I'm using WSL and I have installed um, Rust using this command, the Rust app. You have to install Rust app, and with Rust app, you can just follow everything. After that, like once you install Rust app, you need to follow this guide. Okay, remember, once you install Rust, you need to follow this guide to actually install Rust and everything. If you install Rust up, I think this will be also be installed. But anyway, just make sure you follow this guide correctly. Anyway, I have already installed Rust, so I'm just skipping that part. I'm just telling you just the prerequisites you need to be know or have to develop to follow along this tutorial. So afterwards, you have to add wasm compiling directory, compiling target with using Rust. You can just give this command onto your terminal, your favorite terminal when you're using, and you have to like configure an editor. Like I am using Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio Code with the Rust analyzer added, and I think I have coded LLDB. lower level development. Yes, there's something like that. I forgot. Yeah. Anyway, um, I mean, I installed both those things for NeoVim. Let me for later. Might a NeoVim tutorial would be also nice, right? Like to develop a Stellar smart contract on NeoVim. It would be also cool. So yeah, I might write it up. So later, if anyone wants to uh, create, like suggest some topics, suggest like packages and things like that for Stella, or anyone in the Stella community is also using NeoVim, please share your packages and everything, how you have configured your IDE. Like I haven't configured my NeoVim IDE for a Stella development platform. Stellar development, but Rust is available. So Rust is available and JavaScript is available. So I think I can use it. But anyway, right now I'm using Visual Studio Code for just showing this tutorial. So afterwards, once you configure your editor with Rust Analyzer and Code LLDB extensions and everything, you can actually you can start to install the Stellar CLI. I have installed the Stellar CLI using brew install Stellar CLI. I couldn't run these two because of some uh, I was actually doing a heavy work at that time, and there was some issues with low RAM, things like that. I think like it's because like I'm running a WSL, and on top of that I was running a Docker, and on top of that bunch of the stuffs were open. So at the time, I just ran this brew instance still last year. Like it will give you a packaged version of it, so you don't need to have to build from source. It is actually good, but building from source is more, it gives you more control over it. It gives you more freedom and gives you more control. So remember that if you can install from the source, my suggestion is install from the source because come on, you all need to know where the source is, right? So that is kind of cool. But I used the brew install Stellar CLI for my purposes in a way. Now let's just jump into the configuration, and you can also use the auto completion. Just jump into the this thing. So we need to be creating a network. That's what it's telling. So um, So let me tell you what a network is. So in a Stellar network, there is the Stellar blockchain has like three types of public hosted. The Stellar hosted is hosted like three times. It's called one is called testnet for the testing purposes, and a lot of product the development is happening on the testnet. And there's a main net where like the production apps are running. So both of them are the same, like the same Stellar network with different configuration and security things like that. On the test net, you can add more funds and things like that. You don't need to play with the actual currency. So it is actually a safe place to interact with the Stellar blockchain. So in the Stellar testnet, we are actually developing on the Stellar testnet. Actually, we are actually developing on the standalone or the local network. So that is another thing. So the currently what I'm telling you is there are three types of network. One is the test net, which you were to deploy and test your smart contracts, and you can play with a playable currency, playable Lumens or XLM currency. That is the official currency of Stellar blockchain, and so that is the test net. And you can also have, the other network is the mainnet. Mainnet is the production environment, blockchain environment network. And then we have the future net. Future net is actually the bleeding edge of Stellar network. It is actually where the development actually happens. The Stellar development actually happens. So any updates on the Stellar network is actually first introduced into the future net, and all new apps can try out and test their development on the future net uh, to have like a secure environment or something to get comfortable in that future network. So in the future net, any developments happening in the future net, it will come onto the test net and mainnet later on. But every time the future net is always be bleeding. It will be introducing new features. It will be breaking a lot of times. So keep that in mind. So we have testnet, mainnet, and futurenet. And one other network where we have like we can also have like our own network, and we usually call it for Stella in the Stella community we usually call it as standalone or a local network. So let's just create a local network, right? Let's just create a standalone. So in our terminal, I'm using WSL and I'm in my home directory in a folder called tutorial for these purposes. And let's just create a standalone. And in order to create a standalone, you need to have a Docker running. So just make sure you have Docker running. Docker PS, okay. I mean, I have Docker running, and once I have Docker running, I am going to run the actual container container of Stella. So you can actually run Stella blockchain on your system using Docker. Docker actually lets you skip a lot of configuration. Like otherwise to run the Stella validator network, I mean this Stella network, it will take a lot of configuration. The Docker actually just gives you a quick start. And the Docker image is actually called the Stellar Quick Start. So keep that in mind. Okay. Uh, Docker run dash rm dash it dash p and p is for only the port number 8000 and the dash name. We're gonna name this image as this container as Stellar and where the image is Stellar Quick Start. Okay. The image is Stellar Quick Start. Uh, and for the tag we'll be using tested and we are in the local environment. We are in the local network and we are going to enable create-soroban PC to interact with our locally hosted Stellar blockchain. Okay, okay, let me just make sure. And yeah, I think this is correct. Let me just execute it. Yeah, let's see if it burns up my. Okay, it's all running. So as you can see, starting Stellar Quick Start. Let me just. So this is actually the this is actually better to see, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I mean, I actually use like a very small zoom in purposes. So I have like a lot of area to actually see. And so this is actually the logs, Scala logs that is being running. It actually shows you like where the basic information like about the current blockchain that has been running. So you can see and make sure you identify this. Like you don't need to like copy it somewhere. You can like always refer it back on or refer it back onto this, or you can just look into the what do you say the quick start, right? Right, like in the Kickstarter itself, like in the developer documentations or quick start, I believe they have referred this like this is the root key, and the always is always the same thing. So as you can see, the root account of the network is fixed to as well as right. If the network is changed, the root will change it. Anyway, you can look into this docs of Stellar. What do you say? Stellar dash start on GitHub. You can see the public and secret key. So make sure you identify this. Make sure take a note of this. You need to be calling this later on for our purpose. So afterwards, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? What do we need to do? And this has actually been running everything. You just use on Stellar. Like you can like you get the information of the Stellar blockchain that's running on your system, and it is actually starting different services. The Docker container is actually starting different services to for our blockchain, and it's like starting. Yeah, as you can see, like once the synced thing is happening, it actually represents the blockchain is actually running. So it's actually creating all those blocks for us. So it will keep on uh, developing. I mean, creating blocks. It will be like moving on. 143. 143. I mean, whatever. The root account is derived from the network fast phrase. So as you can see, the blockchain is running. So how can we confirm it? I mean, the Docker blockchain is running. So let's just look into it, right? You can actually call on to the Horizon API, like so, right? This would actually, yeah. So you can see this is actually the Horizon API, or you can just go onto your browser and just say localhost 3000, and it will give you all those endpoints where you can uh, interact with the blockchain. So as you can see, there's lots of endpoints here. We'll be looking at this later on. Okay. Okay. Once you have your Docker container running, I mean your Stellar blockchain running on the Docker container, you can actually. Now, what do we need to do right now? Okay, blockchain is running, and now we need to have the. I forgot. Stellar blockchain is running. So yeah, network. Yeah. Okay. 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 So the blockchain is running. Now you need to add a network onto that to add or interact with that blockchain. So let's add the Stellar network. We're going to create a network, right? Stellar network, add um, local, and we're gonna give the RPC URL. We're gonna define the RPC URL. HTTP slash local host 8000 slash soroban-rpc. Okay, the local network, and we're going to define the network fast phrase, passphrase, network passphrase. As you can see, actually here in this tutorial, I mean, the developer docs actually shows you to create a testnet, a global testnet, and then RPC URL here and the network passphrase. This is the RPC URL for testnet, and this is the passphrase for testnet. And it's actually creating a globally. This is going to configure this globally. We are going to configure this locally. I mean, on this what is it tutorial project directory. Like if you add global, it will be like that. That network will be available to everywhere. on your system. So for our purposes, we just need uh, this network available on our this directory itself, this specific directory itself. So it gives you a more controlled area on your system. So be sure to keep that in mind. So the network fast phrase for the standalone or the local one is standalone network semicolon February February 2017 or 2017 as in Malayalam in my language. Okay, anyway, standalone network semicolon February 2017. So with this command, we'll be creating a local network connected to our local running Stellar blockchain. Okay, I hope this doesn't break. Okay, it's actually created one. You can actually check if it's created by doing this. Okay, and as you can see in the developer, and it has already created like this thing. So like the Stellar CLI gives you a lot of tools to interact with the blockchain. So if you just run Stellar, it gives you the basic documentations, basic commands and everything to interact with the blockchain. You can you can play a lot with this, and I think you only need just the Stellar CLI to do everything on Stellar. So let's just say, wait, everything on Stellar. So once you have this uh, once you have created the network, um, what do you need to do? You need to create an identity. Yeah, you need to create an identity. So here they are generating a global Alice on the test network. We are going to create the Alice one for our local network. So let's just type into it. So Stella to create a local key. We are going to type in Stella keys. You can just look into how the developer talks like Stella keys. It just gives you the command, or you can just say like Stella keys H, and it will give you the same command. You don't need to actually be executing it. Stella keys generate, and again the H command. It will give you like what all things are needed to be defined in order to generate or execute different commands. So I already know, like I already looked into a lot into this, and I'll just skip all those things. So we're gonna generate Alice. So the name of the identity is Alice, and the network we're going to define the what do you say the network as local, and we're gonna. But I don't know if we can check this. I mean, if you are defining the network, you don't need to actually define the RPC or network fast price because it's actually defined here. So if you define the network, you don't need to do this. But yeah, if you don't have this, you can define this. So that's how it works. That's my mouse. That's my mouse. Okay. Yeah. So once you generate the identity, it will create. Like you can just check into the Soroban directory itself. You can see like a network we have created using Stellar CLA and the identity we have created. Then this is the local running one. So It's actually pretty cool. So this is actually locally running. So in a development environment or a production environment, keep this really hidden. Okay. I mean, it's an identity. Seed phrase is actually a literally a fast phrase, right? So yeah. So those are the two things, and just close it. Pretty concerned, right? Anyway, and you can see the public keys, like the keys address else. So this is the address of the Alice. This is the address of Alice on our blockchain. So if you can look onto this account section, if you just paste it, and you can see like a lot of stuff that's being defined. Like plus plus yes, yes, yes. So um, so this is actually what's hap- I think the video is kind of let me just okay. I hope you can see it. Okay, I hope you can see this. So if you just run the local host accounts and you copy that contract variable, the contract address, I mean the account address, this is the account of Alice on our local blockchain. So the local blockchain is actually this is the Horizon API that is running on top of our local running blockchain, Stellar blockchain on Docker on our system. And it just gives you a lot of information about it. You can look into like what all things are there. At the very start itself, Stellar itself, it gives you it funds your account with 10,000 lumens because this is like a test network. It won't fund the account on the actual mainnet. For the mainnet, you have to fund yourself, and depends on your country's regulations and laws. To it gives you like how it can be how the account can be funded. So this is actually the thing. And let me just go back to our layout here. What was the layout here? This is the layout. Yes. So yeah, so that's what's happening. Just can close this. I don't want to too much things opened. So this is the address, Stellar keys address. Once you have that address, so once you have that address, you can actually okay. This is the first part of our tutorial. Right now we have ran the Stellar standalone. So right now the standalone tutorial is being completed. So yippee! Is there a way we can celebrate like to show something like let me just have a GIF. Yes, yeah, focus. Yeah, you need to focus. Okay, go back. Okay, we just celebrated later while anything anyway. Okay, anyway. Yeah. Now what we need to do is we right now we have the Stellar blockchain running and we have created a, network here, network, and we have called in a horizon API, and to just I just showed you, and we have created the network, we have created a identity, and we have stored it in the server. Okay. Yeah. Then we have to like create. We are actually developing our application. So just search like create-soroban-dapp from Palta Labs. Palta Labs. Just make sure this is the directory. I mean, this is the repository. And for that, we're just gonna clone this, right? We're just gonna clone this, and so it's clone, and we're gonna name this. Yeah, sure, you can be like greeting without. So this will be creating a greeting dev folder on our system, and we will be looking into that. So cd onto that greeting tab, and you can see what is inside it. As you can see here. So these are all the basic things. You can just look into those docs. This is actually developed using actually inspired by Inkathon project. That is the Polka dot blockchain smart contract language. The Polka dots the blockchain smart contract uh, language to develop smart contracts in Polka dot. We use Ink, and it is written in Rust. So it's kind of cool. If you know Rust, you can just like develop from lots of stuff. The Ink is not actually a Rust. Ink language is written in Rust. So Ink is actually a lot of macros written in Rust. So that's another tutorial. That's a different field, I guess. Okay, this is actually inspired by Inkathon project and the Create V3 app. I don't know. I have looked into that. I'll be looking later. Okay, anyway. So you can just follow this docs everything. And right now we are just following this one. Okay. You can adapt in the subfolder Soroban React app, CD Soroban React app. From there is normal. It's a normal NextJS app, Yarn or Yarn. If you understand. We'll be using Yarn for our purposes. So let's just look into the React app, right? I really don't like this zoomed. Yeah, anyway, so this is the React application. You can see the contracts defined here. The contracts folder has like this is like a back Node.js. This is actually Node.js, right? This is actually TypeScript. This is actually the type. The contracts is actually TypeScript. It just defines the different deployment and things like that. You can check the package JSON for such things. For the deployments, you can see like this is the already defined address. So in the deployments, you can see our our boilerplate has been already configured to like host this contract onto the standalone network, and this greeting contract onto the test network. So contract name is greeting, and it is the same thing. The same file is being running two times, and in order to identify both of them individually, we have like two different addresses. So this is actually hosted on there. So you can check out the configuration to understand like the different networks available. So these are the different networks available on our application, our boilerplate application. So I told you right, testnet, kitchennet, mainnet, and the standard one. So let's just look into the greeting. This is the cargo normal file. It will just show you like the dependencies and the basic information about the package. And this is actually the React application, as you can see. So at the very start itself, we are using no standard library. We are using the no standard definition. So I don't know what is. So we actually call and import your Soroban SDK. We actually use it, and these are the basic things needed for our the simple contract that just sets and reads a title. So this is the constant, a symbol like a variable kind of sort, like on our blockchain. Like so, the title variable we are storing on our blockchain. So this is like an area to store things. So it's simple, and we are defining the contract as title contract and implementation title contract. We are defining the implementation. So the contract is defined here, and the contract implementation is defined here as title contract implementation. And in that, we have two methods called set title and read title. The set title takes in two arguments. One is the environment and title. The environment is like the blockchain environment, uh, and the title is actually the symbol. The title is actually the data we need to be putting into the symbol. So, and if you run the set title, it actually calls the environment. Inside that, we look into the storage, and we take an instance of it, and we set it with the title. The ampersand symbol here represents a we are borrowing this, and we are borrowing the title also, and we are just setting this title onto this title, onto the simple title. So this is actually setting the title. So once you can call this like set title, and you can define the title here, and it will be setting onto our blockchain. And for the read title itself, it's almost the same principle. We are what do you say, interacting. What is this? I mean, uh, it takes one argument called environment, uh, and it just outputs a string. For the set title, it doesn't output anything. It just is an side effect, and and the read title is actually outputting a string. So to an output a string, we get into the environment, and we get into the storage inside the environment. We get an instance of it, and we get the symbol title, and we unwrap it. Unwrap it. It's like a basic Rust command. You can follow the Rust documentations, like the Rust docs, uh, Rust book, or the book. It's like the official thing of Rust. Like if you look into this, like for me, in my suggestion, like like if you need to learn about Rust, just complete this. Just complete the official Rust book. Like this is the most this is like everything you need to know to uh, develop your Rust skills. Like this is the basic things you need to know. Like and afterwards, there are like a lot of tutorials from the community. You can check into it. Like there are like a huge community into it. So it's like really good. So make sure you check that. Okay. And what we're saying. So it will unwrap it. So if there is something in it, it will return that. Or if there's nothing inside the title, it will just set the default title. Okay. It will be setting this as default title. So this is our contract. So right now, we just what did we do right now? Yeah, we just cloned it. Yeah, we just cloned it. That's it, right? Okay. So this is the contract application, as you can see. So, and just the basic test for our contract application, configuration test. You can see that default setting the deployment, and we are registering the environment with the contract title contract and the client new contract ID. Read title. Once you read the title, can we make sure it just shows default title? Does it show default title? And the time set title, new title, let me read title, and does it show it has been set like this? Once you can confirm this, this actually shows it's actually working. So um, those are the basic things and the tweet test. Yeah, you can follow this tutorial. So, main read me to understand this the basics. And, so that is it. And that is the contract folder. Contracts, that's actually contract. It's called the greeting. And there are different scripts in order for our application to be running smoothly, as you can see. Uh, the environment variable here. Okay. In this example, this is the React application. Now we need to be okay. As you can see, like this is the next step we need to be doing. So this right now we are in creating dApp. As well, Soroban, we just cloned it. After we have cloned it, we will CD into the Soroban React app, and we will copy contracts. V example into contracts slash. So what this the command does is it copies this example here. As you can see, like an environment will be defined. For the admin secret key, the one we'll be using is here. Uh, it's actually, I guess, okay, we can actually get it secret key. So this is actually the secret key we'll be using. If you if you have trouble finding the secret key, you can actually use the one defined here. It's actually the same thing since we are using the Docker container hosted on our local system. It's actually the same thing. If you are doing some other stuff, uh, make sure it's not different. Otherwise, like, okay, make sure it's not different. And and the mainnet RPC URL, uh, this is going to be http local host 8000 slash soroban slash RPC. So this is the mainnet RPC URL, and that's the admin secret key. Once you have those both defined, the environment variable is set. So, and that is it. This is the configuration, this is the deployments, and that is the construct section. And so let's just actually execute it. We need to be installing all those packages. So Soroban React app. Just confirm your Soroban like in the clone directly inside the Soroban React app, where the actual package JSON and things are held. Okay. And just yarn or yarn install or yarn and yarn install are both just the same things. Or you can run npm install or you can run npm install. So in the store of React, you are actually running yarn and it will be fetching all those packages and installing it onto our project directory. And that is it. We need to just wait for it to complete. So by this time, let me just tell you. Okay, this is finished. Now we can. What we need to do is. So right now we have ran node modules here, and inside the contract also there's a package JSON. So we need to also cd into it. And okay, my system is a bit hanging. Okay, cd contracts, and we'll also install yarn over here. And we'll initialize the package here. And at the same time, let me just show you the React application. So inside the source folder, you can actually see the React application with the components, different components like home component, layer component, and web3 component, which actually defines a lot of stuff like home page title. You can actually see this, right? Okay, I shouldn't be using at the same time. Soroban React. So this is the code. We'll be looking at this later. Anyway, I have just opened it. Okay, okay. Soroban React dApp, the full stack React dApp qualified for Soroban smart contracts. You can look into this folder. Like if you know React, you can understand. Like this is like a home page title. Like different components are bit defined here. Like home page title, home top bar. Okay, this is just the components. Okay, different components defined on the React application, React SJS application. So actually, a note about this, the greater contract interactions.tsx. This is the one we'll be working on mainly. So this is actually the contract. I'm having a little bit problems on my RAM. Something's happening. Oh God. Anyway, let me just. Anyway, let's just focus on one thing at a time. So right now we are at mainnet RPC URL. Let me just look into my notes here. I have a cheat sheet on what should I be doing. So right now we are at the contracts and we ran yarn and it will be installing all those packages. Where are we? Okay, in the yarn. And there's a ts config, so you can actually run yarn build over here, I think. Okay, in the contracts folder, you're running your yarn build. It will actually build those things for you. Now I think the second part of our tutorial has been finished. That is the setup what the stellar-cli. The second part of the tutorial is already been done. If you need to like Oh God. Okay. So, tutorial creating using depth. Soroban depth. Okay. We are inside the Soroban dApps, and we are going to. You can just run dev here. Uh, it will actually be running the React application on port 3000. So we can actually localhost it. Okay, anyway, like uh, localhost 3000. Oh, it's not actually, it's actually compiling. So I just came over a bit too fast, I guess. So as you can see, it's actually compiling, and we just wait for it to complete. And there you go. So this is actually the application. So you can see this is actually the application we are using. This is the Create React application, the initial Create React application. Um, you can see the basic commands and everything. If you can check into the network, like I always check into the network and see what all things are being just if you go into the network, just refresh it, and it will just show you what all things are being called. So this is my basic workflow, and this is my basic workflow. You can also do it. So some favicons and the icons are being defined, and we are not getting it. It doesn't matter. Like right now, we are just focusing on how to do it. Right. So let's just this. Okay, close this. So this is application. We have our application running. Okay. Right now we have completed two parts. So one, we have the smart contract. I mean the standalone blockchain running and on the Docker container. Then we have the create Soroban dApp running. I mean the front end is running now. Like you can actually interact with this blockchain. Okay, you can actually interact with this test network in order to what needs to be done, right? So there are different things we can do. What I was trying to do, I just forgot. Like you can just play with this application and see what all things you can do. So let's just update hello. So the first greeting is hello. Let's just update this as world, and wallet is not connected right again. Um, so this is actually the wallet, and it's actually in the standalone. Right now we haven't deployed the contract. The React application. This React application is running on our system, and we have a standalone blockchain. So on our browser, we are going to switch over to the testnet. And yes, you can see I have already funded it with a friend bot. With the front board, you can actually fund your account. And with that, I'm going to collect this wallet, connect my wallet. And once we can submit it, it actually shows you uh, it actually requests you to sign the transaction onto the testnet. So we are actually signing the transaction on the testnet, and it will be submitting onto the test network. As you can see, new greeting successfully published. As you can, and we can also look into the contract. Like if you click here, it will go onto the Stellar Expert one, and it will define the basic. It is like an overview on that contract. So it's like focusing on the test network, and so we are like focusing on the test one. Let me just make this in full screen. So as you can see, the network is testnet, and right now some person um, has invoked a contract set title. That's what this means. So the contract is this. As you can see, the contract address, and this is an account address. Okay, an account has invoked the contract set title. So that's actually me, and we are here, here, and these are all other people actually executing the same contract. You can see like what all things are being happening. So this is like an overview. This is what is so cool about Web3. Like you don't like everything is public, but at the same time everything is private. I guess as you can see, right? Like you are given a privacy, and you can actually execute the code. So what we have done is we have set the title as Word, and this is our interface. Like if you see the interface, you can see like the contracts functions in the on the running. Like this actually gives you an overview on that. So this is the contract, and we can see like if you want to like look into uh, my address. So this is my address, and yep, I was just playing with it for a while. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so this is that application. And we're gonna switch it back onto our usual layout. So uh, where were we? Where were we? Okay, let's just switch this on to the standalone. Let's just switch our wallet to our standalone network. As you can see, it is not funded. Uh, can we fund it? We need to fund it. We have the blockchain running. I think we can fund it, right? We can fund with the front board. Let's just fund with the front board. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see this, right? This is what's happening. The standalone one, it just asks you to fund. Like I switched over to this, like I switched over to the standalone one, and it just asked me like if I wanted to fund it, and I just clicked yes. Okay. I don't think the video was able to show this when that pop-up came over, but this is what was happening. It just when something like a new network, like an account just connects to a new network, it will ask you to fund that account. So when I have connected to the Stellar standalone network, the locally running network, it hasn't been identified my account. So it was it requested to like it says that like it can help me with the funding with using the front board. So that was happening. So for standalone one, I'm gonna do this, and this is actually let me just refresh it. As you can see, this is actually still on the test net. You connect fighter. It's actually on standalone. and the chain is on testnet and such a stuff like this. Error fetching greeting. As you can see, that this standalone network doesn't have the contract because we haven't published the contract onto our Docker container. I mean, the contract is actually running on the testnet, okay? But the contract is not actually running on the standalone network. So that is what's happening here. So what we need to do is we need to actually build the code. I mean, build the contract. So let's just here's another terminal. This is actually the front end running. This is actually the blockchain running. Now we will deploy the contract. So in the tutorial, we will cd into creating okay, okay, creating stellar-cli and let's okay, we are in the correct directory and we will um, okay, contracts. Okay, we are in the contracts folder and we need to be deploying our contracts. So cd into greeting. Okay, so this is actually the greeting folder. Let me just open it over here also. So and library hours. This is the contract we'll be deploying. So in order to be deploying to that, this is like the third part of our program. So we'll be deploying with cargo. First we will build it. We are in the greeting directory. Okay. We are in the greeting directory. I'm just confirming it. Cargo build. Um, what is it? Cargo build, cargo build. Oh, I forgot. How do we build it? Um, I forgot the command. Oh God, said I just forgot the command. I just forgot the command. I just forgot the command. Cargo build, cargo build, cargo build. Okay, okay, okay. I just forgot the command to cargo build like a awesome. Yeah, this one. Yeah, build. You can actually write a stellar contract build, but I'm just gonna use cargo. Or should we use stellar contract build? But I just prepared my notes for the cargo build. I'll be sure you can also use stellar contract build. Right now I'm just using the cargo build because the tutorial I have prepared is using the cargo build, but you can use the stellar contract build. Okay, I don't want to waste time. So version 22 unknown, unknown. So cargo build target version 32 unknown. Yes. Okay. This will be building our smart contract. Uh, I mean our contract. This is the contract. This will be building our contract. And once we have built the contract, we will be deploying onto the blockchain. Locally running blockchain. Locally running standalone blockchain. So in this, yeah, as you can see, get those containers up and running. So mean, we created these spaces. Okay. And there was a space and everything. It's just been modified. And that was the modified changes is due to the Git plugin extension I have on my VS Code. I know everyone knows that, but some people don't. So, yes, we are waiting for the. Okay, now we have the contract right now. Now we have the contract built as the was in Dev.to. Okay, and you can set the build here. Now the target was on 32 unknown on release, and you can see the greeting dot was. This is actually not readable. Like if you see, if you click here, this is like it's going to be shared as a sent by the page or some other unsupported text encoding. So this is actually assembly language. The Wasm is like an assembly language, and we want to say it's all gibberish and weird Unicode kind of stuff. So this is actually the one we will be pushing onto our locally running standalone. So let's just do that right. So right now we are in the greeting folder, and so to deploy our smart contract, we're going to write Stella. We are going to use Stella CLI, Stella deploy. Okay, Stella contract deploy. I'm sorry, Stella contract deploy, and we're gonna define the address. Or you can just see it, Stella contract deploy H, and you can see like what is needed for this to be run. As you can see, Stella contract deploy source account, SM or SM hash. Okay. And source account, network, and network passphrase must also be needed. Okay, you can just see network. Yeah. So let's just say Stella contract deploy slash Watson, and we're gonna define the like the path towards our folder that is inside target target was some 32 unknown, and inside that we have release, and inside that we have the greeting dot wasm. So stellar contact deploy wasm target. We can the wasm and the path towards the wasm directory. Then we're going to be saying the source. We're going to be referring our source identity. You can see like this identity we have created. We create Alice, right? Yeah, we created Alice, and on the network we create local. So we'll be calling to this like in order to show it. For the source is Alice, and the network, the network is local. So um, yeah, with this it will be deploying onto our local running. Yeah, let's just see. So right now we're deploying our contract, and we have got that. So this is the contract that has been deployed onto locally running. on our standalone local network. I mean, it's really hard. Like, I need to have a like a fixed name for it. Standalone was kind of a cool name, but right now they are like shifting towards local. I mean, local is for React. I like to call it as standalone. Okay, for the blockchain network for like hosted on our local machine, we're gonna call it as standalone. And if you are running a front end, we're gonna call it as local. For the blockchain, like it's hard to think about it. Like if you are calling it local, like blockchain is a kind of different way. You need to be thinking it as a different way. You need to be have a like approach like a blockchain Web3 kind of application and services. Like you need to be thinking it in a different way. You cannot think like in a Web2 kind of way, like the one we have been using right now. So in order to be using that, anyway, this is the contract address. We're gonna copy this, and once we have copied it, uh, right now we have deployed the contract to our Docker container. Now we need our React application to be referring that Docker container, right? So in order to do that, just go into the contracts folder and into we can see the configuration, right? I mean in the deployments, right? You can see the standalone and it's actually showing the older one. This is the one that is being defined from the what do you say the Palta labs. So this is the actual old one that was been running, and we just replace it with our contact address, and I think that's enough, right? And this will be compiling. As you can see in the front end, it is being compiling, and if we check our local host, I mean, Sorab and React have in the local host. This is actually standalone one. So this is actually world. So this is actually the current state. Okay, you can see the current state is actually standalone. Um, our React application is connected to standalone network, and it was actually displaying like this is actually the wrong one. Like it was not or we had that error before, right? Like if you check the inspect element, you can see the error here. Active connectors typos and become missing value. Like this is what's happening. So how do we confirm the contract has been updated? Okay, see, this is the contract address. It's actually showing CA and X ends in KNG. Okay, CA and ends in KNG. That was the old address. Like if we go back, you can see this is the oldest. I just did an undo. CA and KNG, right? This is the old address. So this is the latest address. We just defined it. And, so the application has compiled. Our servers, as our locally running server, front-end server has compiled it, and we just need to refresh it. Once I refresh it, I'm just saying like these are things has happened. So I'm just before I'm clicking refresh, just understand what's actually been happening. Our React application, the front end is connected to the front end extension. The wallet is connected to our standalone, uh, lo- standalone network. Our wallet is connected to the standalone network. Our React application is connected to the standalone network. Our contract is actually connected to the test net. This is actually the test net address. So our React application is in the standalone. Our wallet is in the standalone. Now, once we refresh it, and since we change this, it will be showing you the standalone one contract. I hope so. Right now this shows you the world. Okay, this is actually the address for KU, right? This is actually the test network address. Okay, now once we connect the wallet, let me just make sure in the freighter. This is the freighter extension. We are in the standalone network. Okay, we are in the standard. Our wallet is in the standalone network, and the React application is right now connected to testnet. Our OKU is also here. Once we connect it with the freighter, it will just say standalone. And you can see it's going to be showing as CB and sends in 2H, right? CB and send 2H. So right now, this is actually the our contract, and it's actually still showing world. This needs to be showing as default title. Some mistake has been happened, I guess. And let's just refresh it. It's not, it's just not like if we check onto the expert, this is what's happening. Like because like this is actually the contract is actually running on a local network. It's actually not connected to the public blockchain. So I thought like this was going to be shown. I don't know why this was not being shown. Like the default title has to be shown. That's the great thing. I think it's some mistake. Like it didn't update it correctly. When we switched over to the wallet, it didn't update the world. When we switched to the wallet, I think it updated just this one. It didn't update this one. It's a different component. If you want to just look into that, just you can just look into that. So in the components where the source components directly Web3 and creator contract interactions, you can actually see the festivating components. So festivating components is at the bottom over here. Placeholder festivating. Uh, what the, so festive greetings actually return message. So who is calling this return message? Um, Separate a message as well to value, separate a message. Uh, we have not called the read function, right? Who's calling the read title? Okay, so error while fetching greeting. Try again. So I think I understood. Like this actually calls a read title, but when it calls read title, it's actually calling the test network read title, right? And it just sets the test network read title onto our component. But when we switched over to the standalone network, uh, this has already been executed, and I think that's what's the issue here. Like, just like say like update waiting. Let's just update some kind of a new kind of waiting. What I will say, um, hello Web3, hello Web3. As you can see, our channel fighter extension is showing. As you can, I hope you can see this. This is actually the fees. You could do it redesign defining the fees. Actually, this is actually the best network. So invoke contract ID. You can see you can copy this and the function name set title. You can actually like if anything as a like when you're transacting, like doing some Travel 3 interactions, you can see like what all things are happening. So invoke a contract, like why the transaction is being called, the contract ID, you will get the contract ID, and you can search on onto the um, a blockchain explorer and see what is being defined. And the function name is set title, and for the set title, you can actually see like let's just actually explore it first. Uh, Yeah, this is actually on the local network. So, okay, okay, you can actually see, right? So, this is the details of a set title and subtitle, and the parameters hello web 3. Like, that's what we are sending. So, this is and the row str, right? I just going to take this as full screen. You can still see this, right? So, this is actually the raw str summary. Let me just inspect it. Just want to make sure, like, we are not doing anything wrong or something. So, so this extension, okay, now we're just signing it. So once we sign it, you can see the things that is being updated. So a new greeting has been successfully published, and it's going to say hello web 3, hello web 3. So that's how you do it. So right now it just fetched the hello web 3. Like we have executed the contract hello web 3. Like if we refresh it, we can actually see. Now we just lost that state, right? We just lost that state. So now we are refreshing it. Now what it will it's right now it will be fetching from the testnet. Um, and it will be showing hello. And we need to be show hello world. So right now this will be going onto the test network. And as I told you, this will be like connecting onto the world. I mean showing the data as world because that's the data we are stored onto the test network. And once we connect onto the local standalone network, this it must be a straight. Yeah, like when we we need some kind of interaction out there. So if I disconnect it right now, it's on the standalone one. So you can see the hello one field, right? So that's kind of a weird one. It's a weird bug. So if anyone wants to contribute to contribute to that, uh, like it's a weird bug on the Soroban React app. So it's not actually updating it. So as a weird bug like we have found during this tutorial. So uh, someone we need to fix it. And so like standalone level 3 update lab, and you can see like update grouping. Like you can say like they are uh, like three level 3. And again submitted. Just test it out. Scan executed. No greeting successfully published. Just kind of weird. to show it, and we can connect to the test network, standalone, and the test net. Once we want to connect to the test net, we can connect our wallet again to the test net, and it's just okay. If I connected to the test net, it is actually showing us the world. So if I connected to this, we just switch over to switch it here itself. When I connected the standalone, I just showed the world as layered, and when I disconnect it, it's actually going to the web suite. Okay, okay. Right now, it's the state is actually in the standalone, right? Now we are going to switch over to testnet. Okay. Now the state is actually in standalone. We switch over to testnet. Okay, the state has been changed. Okay, the state has been changed to testnet. Okay. Now, if we disconnect the wallet, okay, testnet. Okay. Okay. I'm connected with the testnet. And anyway, that's how you guys do it. And this is the third part of the tutorial. And you can see like we already have found a bug on the React boilerplate. So it's actually kind of it is like if you change on to the standalone, you can actually see when we are changed on to the standalone from testnet from the test network to standalone. You can see like change from test to standalone, and it's actually referring the test network. Like if you disconnect it, right? That's an issue over there. So anyway, this is how you run a standalone network, blockchain network, blockchain ledger, Stellar validator, okay. Standalone Stellar validator. Okay, this is how you run a standalone Stellar validator with create-soroban-dapp and using the Stellar CLI. We have deployed our contract. So I hope you guys understood this part of the tutorial where we like interacted like established like a standalone one. So, oh great. I mean, yeah. So this is our progress, and you can also redefine this to change it. Okay. In the next tutorial, I might show you how we can redefine the greeting, editing the greeting. Like you just need to know Rust. You just need to go Rust, and you need to follow the documentations and things like that. Yeah, I will show you how you like what all things we can be following to like program and modify the smart contract. So I hope you guys understood it. Okay.